This segment of the Alice Stewart Show is brought to you by the Countertop Store, Central Arkansas's premier countertop authority. For custom fabrication and installation of granite, tile, laminate, copper, and more. The Countertop Store, 888-510-4773.
And we're back 7:20 on a nice Tuesday here in Central Arkansas. And Fox News Radio's Todd Starnes, as you know, you can hear his program throughout the day here on 96.5. He is an author, God Bless America. He travels the country speaking on God, guns, religion, and sweet tea. And Todd is now stirring up stuff at Arkansas State University. And if you have not heard, ASU football team, the players recently put beautiful little cross decals on their football helmets to memorialize former player Markel Owens, who was killed in January, and former equipment manager Barry Wire, who was killed in a June car crash. And there has been some controversy surrounding that. Todd Starnes, host of Todd Starnes Fox News and Commentary, joins us. Todd, good morning.
Howdy do, Alice.
Great to have you here. Thank you. And you're always getting involved in situations like this. Thank the good Lord. And tell us how this will go chronologically. They put these crosses on their helmets, and then what?
Well, this happened. You know, the Red Wolves have had a pretty tough off season. One of their players was gunned down in his home in Jackson, Tennessee. The team equipment manager was killed in a car crash. And so the players knew that both these young men, fine young men, Christian fellas, and they wanted to honor them and also to try to bring them onto the field for one last season, at least, and bring their spirit.
Right.
And so the guys all got together and they decided to put a cross decal on the back of their helmets with their initials. Well, you might remember that they played. It was a nationally televised game a couple of weeks ago with the Vols.
Right.
The atheist apparently saw the small cross on the back of the helmet and became so grossly offended that they fired off complaints. Now, the initial complaint came from an attorney there in Jonesboro, but the Freedom from Religion Foundation, those are the perpetually offended atheists from Cheese Country.
Sure.
They got in, threatened the school with a lawsuit unless they got rid of the crosses. Now, Alice, I received internal documents between the legal counsel of the university and the atheist and the athletic director. The athletic director, great guy, he was like, we're not changing anything.
Good for him.
But then the legal counsel for the university stepped in and said, hey, wait a second. They said, even though there's no legal precedence, there's no legal reason why we have to remove these crosses, we are so afraid of the atheist that we're going to have to give you a choice. You can either, A, remove the cross, or you can modify or deface the cross by turning it into a mathematical plus sign.
Yeah, that kind of takes away from the cross. And here's the thing, this Freedom from Religion Foundation, the anti-God group, they threaten lawsuits and in hopes of intimidating or silencing Christians, and that's what they did here. But fortunately, Todd, you got in and made some calls, talked to some folks, and there's been a little change with this story.
Sure has. We don't mind stirring up a stink when we need to, and we're stirring up a big one. The folks over at the Liberty Institute, they're one of the nation's preeminent religious liberty law firms.
Right.
They stepped in. They're representing one of the players, and they've sent the school, the university, a letter, an official letter saying they have until Wednesday to put those crosses back on the helmets or there's going to be a lawsuit. They say that there is no violation of the Constitution, and in fact, the university violated the Constitution by infringing upon the rights of these young men on this football team.
And that's an excellent point and a legal point. They say ASU's actions in defacing the students' memorial stickers to remove their religious viewpoint is illegal viewpoint discrimination against the students' free speech, period.
Yeah, look, these atheists went so far. This is what really gets me, and this really got the athletic director, too. They went so far as to suggest constitutionally appropriate ways for these young men to grieve their teammates. And I got to clean this up a little bit for morning drive. Don't want to cause any accidents there in Little Rock. But the athletic director said he didn't give a flying flip what the atheist thought.
Good. Well, and that's what needs to be done in order to stand up to these people that are continuing to wage battle on the war on religious liberty.
Absolutely. And Scotty, I keep calling you Scotty, Alice, and that's because our good friend Scotty Hughes was just in my office.
I know. Scotty's great. That's fine. I've been called a lot worse, and that's a compliment, being called Scotty.
But, Alice, one of the great things about your radio program is that you call attention to these kinds of things, and we're able to get the word out. And when we do, we're able to facilitate change. And I really hope, look, I think Arkansas State, they've got some great people in leadership over there, but they need to man up and say, you know what? We're going to stick with the Constitution and not the atheist.
That's a great point. The U.S. Constitution and not the Wisconsin atheists.
Indeed. What an ill-tempered bunch.
Yes. Well, once again, another victory for Todd Starnes on the war on religious liberty. And just one more thing. While you were doing this, one last question. You're talking with the folks here in Arkansas and the folks at the Liberty Institute, and you're talking with folks. What kind of resolve do you see in those that realize they're fighting the war on religious liberties, but the resolve for those who want to see those crosses put up and do not want to see their religious liberties trampled on?
Well, that's right, and it's really exciting to see the community in Jonesboro stand up. We understand one company, according to local reports, printing up hundreds and hundreds of free T-shirts with crosses on them. And folks are finally, I think, and I write about this in my book, Godless America. People are realizing that unless they stand up for religious liberty, nobody's going to do it for them. And I think for so long, Alice, we have seen people just stand by and do nothing while our First Amendment rights have been slowly whittled away. So now it's up to all of us to take a stand, and let's defend religious liberty, not just for the people of the Christian faith, but for people of all religious faiths. That's what America's all about.
Right. And I would invite the folks at ASU, and I will be happy to join you, send out an invitation to the atheists in Wisconsin to come to Arkansas. Let's go shopping at Hobby Lobby and go eat a Chick-fil-A sandwich.
I get you a plump, juicy chicken breast. That'll convert them.
That's right. Todd Starnes, host of Todd Starnes, Fox News and Commentary. Get his book online or at any bookstore here in Arkansas, Godless America. Todd, thank you.
Hey, thanks a lot, Alice.
Appreciate you. You can also follow him on Facebook at Todd Starnes, and he has his own website, toddstarnes.com. Just a great warrior for religious liberties, and it's so important to do so. I want to encourage you also, we're not far away from the Susan G. Komen Race for the Cure coming up on October 4th. Many folks have joined a team. A lot of folks are doing it individual. You can also participate. Men and women come out to support those who are currently engaged in the difficult battle with breast cancer, and also honoring those who have not been so fortunate. So the Susan G. Komen Race for the Cure coming up on October 4th. You can go to KomenArkansas.org. You can find out more information. You can join 3 Miles of Men. There are plenty of opportunities to volunteer. And we're going to talk with Ashley Hurst. She is with the Susan G. Komen Race for the Cure coming up in about 15 minutes here on the Alice Stewart Show. But make sure you stick around. Coming up after this break, former House Speaker and Republican presidential candidate Newt Gingrich will join us. He's going to talk about education and a new initiative being pushed by the Obama administration that he says is an affront on for-profit colleges that Speaker Gingrich says will reduce educational opportunities. We'll speak with him coming up after this break. Make sure you stick around throughout the day here on 96.5. We have a great lineup. My program, followed by Glenn Beck, Dave Ramsey, Dave Ellswick, Sean Hannity, and Steve Dace. Follow us on Facebook, The Alice Stewart Show, or on Twitter, Alice Tweets, or Alice Stewart 965. We're going to take a break. When we come back, former House Speaker Newt Gingrich will join us. This segment of the program brought to you by the Countertop Store. For all of your kitchen needs, make sure you call the Countertop Store, 9817 Maumelle Boulevard, 888-510-4773.